our RTC locker, same sort of layout as we've had in previous, but now we've gone to the clean cab system. So as you see in the crew cab now, it's seating only with a little bit of frontal storage now. So as is probably going to be standard procedure in a lot of brigades now, we've got the BA sets in with the RTC locker and in reverse on the other side. So it just comes out on a sliding tray. So you'd have your 2 BA sets in here, 2 here, 2 on the other side, along with 2 spare cylinders under here. There is some little adjustment things here to so if you're a smaller person, you can release that there, or if you want to lower it down, you're not as tall, you can then put the straps on like a backpack, then release it off, and off you go. So we're now moving to hydraulic. A lot of pumps have had hydraulic cutting gear and rams. Still some have some hydraulic powers with the generator, but more or less now as we move on as a service, it's going to be hydraulic stuff. So we've got the cutters in here, all weather rescue stuff. It's a lot quieter as well. We did have I can't remember what the other mate was, but I know that does sound a bit loud, but the other stuff was a lot louder. I think it was Lucas Clan that we had first, and that was a lot louder than that. It's a lot lighter as well. Battery's interchangeable. You can be halfway in with a cut. The battery can die, but you can just interchange it out and straight away you go. Battery's going to last about 20 minutes, which is pretty good to say how much strength you need to cut some A and B posts. I don't really know if it'll go through boron seal. That's probably something we'll have to check out. But a lot of roll cages now with the more modern cars are made with boron steel. So it can be a bit of a nightmare to chew at to get. The spreaders we've got here, this thing called Pack-X. So when we manage windows, when we're managing glass, we use a glass punch. Put on the window, managing glass now, smash. The glass is either going to fall in the vehicle or into the door. So this thing here called Pack-X, it looks a little bit like cling film. It's basically sticky cling film. So on this here, you'd open it out, let's say that was the window, you'd roll that on there, it would stick across it. It's really sticky. Comes across, you probably see better there actually. Roll that across the window, we then manage the glass will break, but it'll be stuck in that cling film, so you can just peel it off in a wanna, no mess, and then away you go. So we've got some stab fast for stabilization. We have got the stabilization blocks. We've got the stabilization blocks that we use to stabilize vehicles to try and keep them nice and still. Obviously if there's someone in the vehicle with potential C-spine injuries, we want to make sure that vehicle's as stable as we can. If we're taking parts off it, it's going to be a little lighter, so we'll check the stabilization. With every large bit of a vehicle we take off, let's say the roof or a couple of doors, we'll recheck that stabilization to stop it from wobbling. Obviously it's not going to be as heavy as it is normally. So this is a bit hard to show now unless we are on a vehicle, but it works as you stick that at an angle, so like that, and there's a strap that you can put, I don't know, to a wheel or something. You crank it up like a ratchet, it works on a ratchet, it then pulls it together, which will squeeze the suspension down on the vehicle, which will stop it from rocking. It's a really great bit of kit. Stabilization blocks in here, can't really have enough of these, they're absolutely fantastic. Extra storage, got some head blocks here for our stretcher. Slip stretcher, every pump's now going to have a slip stretcher on it, which is fantastic. So when we do take a casualty off, nice and easy, stick them on the slip, obviously with the head bars and that, pass them over to the paramedics, get them on their stretcher, and then if they're say immobile, we can't get them off the stretcher, they'll take that with them, they'll give us theirs as a replacement, or if not, we can slide them to the left, take it out a little bit, or slide them to the right, a bit like a scoop. So obviously the dangers with RTCs, we're cutting them to bits. We're going to create lots of sharps and things that can potentially cause injury. So this is our sharps protection kit. So if I was to cut a B post or an A post, especially with our cutters, there's going to be all sorts of sharps that you can hurt yourself with. So we'll just literally pop that over there, and that's going to protect us. So let's say that's the damaged post there, just stick that on there. No one's going to put their hand or fall onto it and rip their tuning coil, potentially hurt themselves with that. Steering wheel cover. We go to a lot. We've just been to an RTC now actually where it was a bit of a shunt and the airbag didn't go off. So these are really good. We can pop these over the airbag, tighten up on either side. It hogs it. It looks a bit like a hat. Hogs around the outside of the steering wheel. Once you pull it tight, if the airbag did go off, that would catch it and it wouldn't go out into the casualty or any fire service personnel. it's really important we get that on early. And then just other types of tools. We've got this little teething tool, just pick away things. We do a lot of what we refer to as peel and reveal as well with the car. So we're trying to find the seatbelt restraint systems. We're trying to find out where all the airbags are as well, because you don't want to cut through one of them, especially if it's charged. It can go off at any time. So we just pick away at the bits of plastic of the vehicle, try and find out where the restraint systems are. Got some bolt croppers in there as well. Hoolie tool. These are quite new as well. We did have these in the TRB. So we used to have a lot of till dawn lamps on the pumps, but we've gone away from them now. We've got some foldable cones. We've got these little blue lights. So press that, turn it on. So you can pop them on the top of the cones. You can see them for a long time. There's different settings. It's quite cool. We quite like them. I think they're going to be really, really popular as we move on. So the hose reel. So we've also got foam on this pump. It's a standard pump. We've got 1800 litres of water, which is obviously an awful lot. I think we've got 570s and 345s. Obviously the hose reel. We've now got Delta branches. We did have Akron branches, but now we've moved to the Delta branches. These are fantastic, especially for high and low pressure. They're really, really good. Got a couple of nubbles. So if we're using foam, we do have a foam tank inside the pump. And we'll get to that at the back, but we've got special nozzles that can stick on the end of that system. So if we are using foam, let's get this Delta branch out like that. This nozzle helps out with the foam. It's a lot better. Okay. So we've got one for high and low pressure. So we've got the truck stabilization system. It's basically just a giant ratchet. If we get to a heavy vehicle, they're notoriously really hard to stabilize. Obviously they can have a lot of suspension in them, being a large vehicle. So with these, the ratchet, what we can do, we can go over the top of the vehicle and then ratchet wheel to wheel to try and pull that cab down onto its tyres. We'd probably put some chocks in there as well, because it'll take a lot of power to ratchet and bring the vehicle down onto these to stop the suspension from working so it's still. We'd probably stick some chocks under there so you're not ratcheting it as far. You either go over the cab, or if there's enough room inside the cab, you can go through the cab as long as it's not over the Casualty. So we've got a standard turf 3.2. Just waiting for some more bits for that, waiting for the ground anchors. So we've got our normal GP lines, we've got a 15 metre and a 30 metre. As I mentioned earlier, we've got the row cones, the collapsible row cones, really easy to use. This light here, this Bosch light, we've got these coming out from the service. These are really bright, and we've also got a stand for them as well. I'll probably break your camera. There's got 3 different settings, but once it's dark, these are absolutely fantastic. Get it in high ground as well. You can watch down over the incident. It's brilliant. We've got a rope pack as well that we use for line rescue at the station as well. We do have what we refer to as Gotcha line rescue, which is like a level above what we have in the standard pumps. So we've got a rope pack here, which we only use for 3 things. We'd use it for working near an unguarded edge. It's like a restraint system, or going up and down a raking ladder, or to rescue a conscious casualty as well, or unconscious casualty. So we've got our harnesses in here. We got our ID, which is industrial descender. Thread the line in there, and then we could then, using this, we could lower a casualty or a wearer through it. It's a really good bit of kit. As I mentioned, we've got the ability with our line Gotcha Rescue on the instant support unit to lift casualties and rescuers as well, or both of them together. We've also got a casualty harness in here that someone's dangling down on their mechanism and they rescue. If someone was stuck on a mechanism, or they'd had a bit of an episode and they were stuck, let's say halfway down the tower, we would probably lower down to their level. We would then stick this harness over their harness. We would then lift them up, while they're attached to us, which would take the tension off their mechanism, and then we would then connect them to us and then either lift them back up to us, or we would probably lower them to ground level. That comes with a 50-metre line as well. Airbags, or like I said, we refer to them as flat bags. They're called flat bags, so once we attach the cylinder to them, we'll probably get them, so from flat level, we'll probably get at this height. They're called flat bags because once they are fully inflated, if you can see here, where the green is, they will come up so high and they go flat, whereas the other ones, when they were fully inflated, they probably come up to like a mushroom size, which is not really good if you're looking for it to be stable. So these are really, really good. We've got 2 of them, and we can then also connect them together or put them on top of each other. That's for the turfer. A couple of strops in there as well we'd use for the turfer, and then anchor rings, D-shackles, things like that. We've got a lot of empty boxes in here that we'd use, probably put drinks or food packs in there if we're out for long periods of time. Driver's kit box as well. We have struggled in the past with room to put driver's gear in. We'd either leave it in the back to get changed at incident. Some drivers don't like driving in the fire boots, find it a bit restrictive. Obviously now we've not got a lot of room in the back because we've gone from a clean cab. It's slightly smaller, so now we've got a box for the driver's kit to go in there. So as soon as you get off the incident, you can just get in there and get your stuff on. As we move to the back then, so with the old pump we did have the roof ladder in the back here, but we've changed that now. So we've got the triple X ladder there, 9 metre, and then we've got the 13.5 in the middle, a standard, and then the roof ladder on the back. We've got a night owl, which is a giant mast. I'll get that up in a second. So we've got the 3 deliveries. As I mentioned, we've got foam for this one as well. We can deliver foam at high and low pressure. Yeah, it was on the old. It was on the TRVs, but now it's coming onto the old frontline appliances, the B types now. The screen's a lot wider this time, a lot bigger, easier to use. It's not touch screen. We've gone away from the little fiddly knobs now. It's just up and down. Really easy to control. Slight lag on the up and down from the bar pressure once you request it, but it's still a good pump. 2 salvage sheets we'll use if we're making like a tool dump or an improvised dam or something like that, or a salvage dump. We use them for just about all sorts, covering vehicles once they've cut them to pieces as well. Door boxes here, got electrical gloves in there. We've got some tools up here for like wildfire, a couple of rakes and beaters and things like that. Again, another Delta branch. I mentioned that we've got these on the hose drills, but you also use them for low pressure as well. We've got the basket strainer. This ground monitor we've got now, it's an Acron ground monitor, delivers 1,900 litres per minute, which is going to drink our tank dry in under a minute. Awful lot of water, it'd take a lot, and the odds of us probably use it in an incident where we don't have the water are still even quite low. These things here are called Delta branches. We have these on the TRVs as well. So it's got a McDonald's coupling on, so we take off the hose rail from here, put it on the edge, and we drill up. If there's a let's say a compartment or a room that's been involved in a fire or still on fire, the conditions are much too dangerous for us to enter. We can drill out, and there's no life in there that is savable. What we can do to make the conditions better is we drill a hole in the side of that building and then pop this inside it. So let's say we've drilled a hole in there, pop that inside, water on, and use this to squirt water into that compartment to try and knock the fire gases down, and maybe make it sort of, I don't know, enough for us to enter and try and knock that fire back. Door breaker, steps, again, same as hose reel, lots of hose. Light portable pump, Godiva 85, and then we've got the PPV fan for positive pressure ventilation. Chimney kit stuff up here as well. We've got the bucket. We still go to a lot of chimney fires, especially in North Yorkshire. Really good toolkits this time, really good toolkits. Good tools as well. So we've got our reciprocating saw. It's absolutely fantastic. All 18 volt batteries as well. We've got, so let me show you. So now if we're cutting glass, I won't show you, but we can connect this tool to it, and what we do, we make an incision or a hole in the glass, and then we'd stick this on the end of here, and this reciprocates, it almost chews away at the glass. So you would, let's say this is the glass there, that would go in there, and it cuts away really, really smoothly, and we can then manoeuvre our way around the windscreen or any type of glass, and that will then cut that really, really smooth. And obviously we use water as well. We pour water on it as we're cutting it, because it's got harmful bits of glass that can come, and we don't want to be breathing them in. Yeah, lots of tools, tool kit full, socket set, more batteries, and then, as I said earlier, more BA storage. That is about it. Clean cab. We've got some storage again underneath the seats. Got our water rescue helmets, and if you want to jump up here, the IEC kit will sit there, and we've also got the defib, which is becoming more of a regular tool for us up here. So it used to live in the IEC kit. It's not as accessible if it's in there. So once it's up here now, spot on. Got our 4 torches, just some more storage in there, and then we've got the thermal imaging camera up there as well. And then some high-vis vests that we'd use for road traffic collisions, but we've just moved on to using special RTC jackets now, which are orange and fluorescent like these, so we wouldn't really use these as much anymore.